Isn't exactly like the corn we saw this morning that was 8 foot tall, is it? Or 12 foot tall?
A little shorter.
So this year I've noticed a lot of this going on. I'm going to dissect this plant a little bit. I've got dual ears going on this year. So I think a lot of that has to do with our weather. You know, we've not been so freaking hot this year. So I think that has had a lot to do with it. But let's see what our little baby ears look like. Nothing like pollen shedding when it's nice and hot outside. There it is. There's our little guy. 18 around. And this little guy. If we can hold on to these ears, we can keep stress off this plant and hold on to these ears. We're gonna have a nice crop out here. This corn actually looks very healthy.
That in-furrow package is incredible.
I'm gonna talk to you about that in just a second.
Yeah.
What you did on the in-furrow piece. This one's 12 around. 2 different ears. If we can hold on to all that, we're gonna have pretty good corn. What population do you run, Shelby?
We're at 34,000 here.
34,000 on 30-inch spacings. So what did you run for a starter program? How'd you get this plant up and going?
Yeah, in-furrow, we are coming in with a product called Fast Start. It was developed by you guys along with another product from you guys, Upward. And then we're also adding some Pivot Bio to that.
Awesome. What are your CECs like out of here?
CECs are teens to upper 20s.
Yep. So you've got some good holding capacity. You know, that the nice thing about Upward, what it'll do when you drop that in furrow with your starter fertilizer, so it'll increase that zone right there in soil solution, just right where you dropped it on top of that seed, and it'll increase that. And I've seen applications that have been north of 50 when you get that CEC level concentrated like that with a product like Upward. So when you do that, you see increased potassium uptake and increased this cation, anything is positively charged uptake. So that's one of the big benefits that we see out of it, outside the technology that's there to help that plant mobilize nutrition inside of a plant, right? So that's a big bang that I really spend a lot of time talking about is once you get that nutrition in that plant, you know, what do we do with it, right? That right technology to drive it inside that plant. That's the intake portion of it.
Okay.
So you're going to hit this when? When are you going to hit this, Shelby? Sunday?
Maybe tomorrow if things go well, but I don't know. We got another really good field to fly first.
Yeah.
The guy we custom farm for, he's like, it's the best corn I've ever had on my farm. Let's fly it. I'm like, okay. So what should I throw in here besides the Veltima?
So on top of your fungicide, what I'm thinking about this farm is, you know, we're sitting here and I looked at the forecast before we walked in here, and we're going to be in the upper 80s for a little bit of periods of time. And that's going to do nothing but stress this crop out. And I don't see any big chances of rain coming for anytime soon, at least in the next 10 days, which is not good, right?
Yeah.
So anything we can do to drop stress inside this plant, this is where I'd probably run some Onward Max with that application, 6.4 ounces.
Okay.
That's going to drop ethylene glycol inside the plant. It's going to increase photosynthesis, and it's going to help that translocation of nutrients source to sink.
Okay.
And keep in front of that stress event, right, that's coming, right, because we know it's coming. Your corn on the very end of the field, right in that little pocket, had some rolling to it, but out here it's not rolling yet. So your corn looks good and healthy here. You need to keep this thing growing. These factories pumping, right, and churning. And that's where Onward Max, when you put it on here, is going to keep this leaf looking like this.
Okay.
So, and it'll keep it unfolded and metabolizing, photosynthesizing.
Okay.
The other thing you'll find, Shelby, when you start, when your plant gets stressed out, you pull back the husk later in the season. You know what I mean by tip back? Right? When that stress has happened, it starts to pull out those kernels at the end. What it'll do is it'll force that plant to hold on to those fruiting sites.
Okay.
Fruiting site on a corn plant is those kernels. Right? So it's going to force that plant to hold on to those kernels. And as long as you've got nutrition, this plant is continuing that source to sink movement of nutrients, it'll fill those kernels out.
Okay.
And that's where we see a big difference in yield and test weight.
Okay. We just bought this, so we're still trying to get it under control, but we limed it, we put chicken litter on. You know, I'm hoping for 220 average at least, but it needs to start raining here. It's just got that kind of almost a week now. We had 6/10 a week ago, so we're getting some stress here from not having enough rain.
That's where we got to help out with Mother Nature. Right?
Yeah.
We got to work with her, and we know it's going to be dry, and that's where I'm telling you. And I want you to see this for yourself, Shelby. If you got an opportunity to split some loads and see it treated with and without Onward Max, I want you to visually see it. A lot of things that we see a lot of times is just the drastic difference in test weight.
Okay.
Right? And we hold pounds to the elevator, right? We don't haul
Yeah.
volume. We haul pounds to the elevator. And, I ain't never met a farmer that likes to haul 52-pound test weight, right? We like
No.
that 62, 65-pound type stuff. So that's one thing that I've noticed that's quite a bit different. So if you have an opportunity to split a load on are you flying with an airplane or a?
It'll be Rick's drone.
Okay, well, perfect. So Rick can do it. Tell him I said he can do it.
Okay.
Enjoy that. Tell him
Yeah.
specifically that I said he can mix
Can you
different
get me
loads.
product in time?
So we can get you product in
Okay.
time. I promise you
Perfect.
that. So John will be here in time.
Perfect.
But that's something I really want you to see it.
Yeah, I do too. I messed up. We should add some on the beans.
The thing about beans are so easy to see because it's so visual. You just walk out there and you're like, holy crap, look at the pods on this thing. You don't have to search real hard. On corn, you physically got to go into it, get in the field like we're standing now, and physically peel them back, right? And start looking at, don't just pay attention to like the kernel set, but also pay attention to like kernel size. So cut them, snap them in half and take a look at that kernel depth that you'll see.
Okay.
So, because there will be a difference in that.
Okay.
So I've had guys before that have said, "Hey, look, we ran Onward Max. I couldn't pick it up with the yield monitor, which is not very often. But he said he couldn't pick it up with the yield monitor. But he weighs every single load, and he said he was 4 to 5 pounds heavier on test weight.
Okay.
And he said, I'll tell you what, it'll be on every single field that I got because I don't haul volume, I haul weight, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. Yield monitors aren't made to pick up those kind of drastic differences, right? And that's a substantial difference in test weight. So typically we see a 5% yield advantage across the board, across environments, whether it's low yielding environment or high yielding environment. So obviously you've got some good soil, very well managed, your pH is in good shape. You're doing good things to start this crop off with. You've got a good solid starter program to get the feet underneath it and help that seminal root system, right? All the way through V5 and then V6, you've got a well-established primary root system. So it's you got good stalk diameter, good leaf width. And every one of these things is a solar panel.
And this is, we came in where you have to bring all the equipment. That's the only way in. So we're in some of the tougher spots.
Oh, that's just gnat. A little black spot on there, and I couldn't tell what it is. I'm getting old, and I need my reading glasses.
Well, I've
But it was just a gnat.
heard some tar spot reports in the area. I can't find any yet,
No,
but
I don't find it.
I don't. But
Let's not even mention it.
somebody found one spot, and it could be bug poop,
Yes,
and then he's
come on.
freaking everybody out.
Exactly.
Like, no.
Fear mongering.
So I did I had a large co-op in southern Minnesota that sent me an invite this past spring to come in and do a training for growers. And then after that, they had me come in and train their actual sales reps. And when we did the training for growers, we did 2 different sessions. So we had about 100 people in each one. And it was the Syngenta agronomist went before me, and he's one of the lead agronomists when it comes to tar spot. And he talked about, look, we got nothing on the market today to kill it, to stop it. Like, there's no preventing it, there's no managing. All you can do is be prepared for it. Right? So starter fertilizers, using stuff on post trips, like that Architect piece coming on that V4, V5 application, or the Fast 6, right? Using that foliar, products like that, using them foliar, it makes a healthy plant. So when this thing does get infected, it helps weather the storm. And it's no different than human beings. If we're healthier and we get a cold, we're probably going to weather it a little bit better than somebody that doesn't take care of themselves. So plants are no different. So they need, a healthy plant's going to weather this storm. But you know what? I'm no weatherman.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us can truly predict what could come on.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden we get moist and this canopy holds moisture and some winds bring in the wrong disease, all of a sudden you've got a problem. I'm a firm believer that fungicide in corn pays.
Okay.
So
What about beans?
on soybeans, I fungicide my soybeans.
Yeah.
I do it. Now, again, I do my fungicide earlier than most. So I do my fungicide at R2 versus R3. I think a lot of times we wait a little bit too long because that's the way we were trained. But on mine, I do them at R2, and then I come back again, and I also use a potassium acetate with XR5 KSB.
Okay.
And then I'm going to come back again on soybeans at R4.5 with KSB again.
Okay.
Right, and do that final maturity phase, pass.
Okay.
Fill out those beans and get heavy soybeans.
Yeah.
Consistently, the last 3 years, I broke 60-pound test weight on soybeans.
Gosh, that's what I need. That's what I need.
You've got good color,
Yeah.
Shelby. I mean, you look at that. That's a beautiful dark green. Pollen shed. I love walking fields when it's hot and pollen's falling. It's great.
We want to tile this. We bought a tile plow, so I need money for tile.
Did you find anybody that has the tiles?
We got tile in the barn.
You got it?
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah.
So I'm going off memory because it's been, what was it, the spring that I was here?
Wintertime, probably.
So wasn't there a guy just over here that has all this recycled stuff going on, or somewhere in this general area that has a whole bunch of plastic for recycling to make tile, make his own tile? It's around here somewhere.
I think it's closer to Corey, isn't it?
Is he thinking of the guy on the way to Heinz's?
Eric told me about the guy.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
He's the plastic guy.
There's a guy
I-
who's about 20 minutes.
Closer to Eric.
It was the same
Lakeview.
day. The same, I
Yeah.
met with them that I met with you. So that's
Okay.
when I passed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We planted this at 34,000.
And what hybrid was it?
This is Bex 6374.
You're like 2 inches deep in this kind of field?
Yeah, we've got some shallow plants too. We're shooting for that 2 inches or maybe just a hair deeper. Got some shallow planting. It got pretty dry near the end. Maybe not quite enough downforce. So probably lost a few bushels from that.
Plants like to brace themselves, and that's just a natural response. In every node, it has the opportunity. So, like if this got in a windstorm and laid over, it's going to find a way to brace itself. It would actually drop roots out of here and out of here if this was curved over like this. One thing that I've noticed is that adrenaline piece that I was telling you about, Shelby. On brace roots like this, when they hit the soil, most of them tap in. They'll put a few root hairs out, but nothing major. But what I found with adrenaline that Eric runs a lot of is it'll turn that into a witch's broom when it comes in contact with the soil. So it'll look just like your nodal roots underneath the ground. And it's
Okay.
amazing to see crown roots like that, the brace roots that go down and physically do that, to turn into a witch's broom like that. That's just more soil surface area that it's going to cover and nutrients it's going to grab.
That's adrenaline in-furrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ran your starter to in-furrow, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. How many gallons you run?
4, right,
total?
Ethis?
Or
Yeah.
Let's this is probably gonna be too hard to dig any out, isn't it?
We could, go
Ethan's
over.
you're a big boy. You can put some weight into her.
what's that?
Get down on that shovel.
Oh, digger.
Yeah.
You want me to
Dig
go
a-
get the
dig a
shovel?
root.
Get her out.
You'll get her. Where's the backhoe?